Kakashi sinks deeper into the darkness of the ninja world in my review of Naruto Shippuden, episode 351. It's time for another edition of First Blood Kakashi Chronicles Anbu Edition. Yes, another episode of the Kakashi Anbu filler arc was delivered to us this week, and it was pretty good. It was something of a retread of last week's episode, but there were still a lot of things that I really liked. First and foremost, this episode was sort of like a big history lesson, getting to learn a little bit more about the first Hokage, the Mokutan abilities, and how Konoha thought it was a good idea to inject his genes into people, but that didn't work because plants exploded out of their face, and nobody wants that happening. If you have plants explode out of your face, you're gonna have a bad time. One thing that was really cool about this episode, though, is we got another action scene between Kakashi and Yamato. We got to see a little bit more of his Mokutan abilities, and I really liked the scene because at first they tricked the viewer. They made us think that the third Hokage was actually going to be fighting against him, but no, it was actually Kakashi in disguise. He cut through his wood, and he fucked Yamato up. Not really. He actually just let him run back to the village because he feels that he's going to be important to its future. But what's really cool about this scene is it was all a big assassination attempt by Danzo because he doesn't really like the third Hokage at all. But what's awesome about this is that Danzo finally gets his comeuppance. And I loved the scene where the third Hokage walks into his office, where Danzo is sitting there swirling around in the chair, giddy as fuck like a James Bond villain, thinking that, ooh, my goons took out my rival, I hope nothing goes wrong. Oh shit, there's the third Hokage, I'm fucked. And what's great about this scene is that the third Hokage actually knows that Danzo tried to do this, but he's going to throw him a bone and he says, you know what, I know you pretty much did this, but I'm going to let you go. I don't want any more bloodshed on my hands. Let's just let this be. You know, we need each other, man. We need the light and the dark. With both of us, this world is in perfect balance. And I'm guessing this is the moment where Danzo decides he's not going to mess with the third anymore, but probably not. That dude, he's an underhanded, snaky bastard. But the rest of the episode, again, is getting to focus a little bit more on Kakashi and his inner turmoil. And I do like the flashback where the fourth Hokage is playing Captain Hindsight, where he's saying, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have had Kakashi join the really dark underground organization that's made up of killers to help him get over the death of his friends. Maybe that wasn't such a good idea. But you know what? Hindsight is 2020, and, you know, Kakashi is not getting any better. In fact, there's a recall to a scene that was seen last week where he's constantly washing his hands because they're always covered in blood. And this is essentially the post-traumatic stress disorder version of Kakashi, who I pray is not an extra playable version in Naruto Storm Revolution 3. But still, this was a pretty good episode, but like I said, it was something of a retread of last week. You know, they just teased Yamato again. They pretty much just did the same exact scene as last week, except this time they did the whole assassination attempt with Danzo, which was actually a pretty cool scene. But it's also important because I guess we get to see when the third Hokage is appointed again, but it's not really a big deal because we knew he was appointed anyway. But still, I hope that next week's episode will pick up a little bit more with where this story is possibly going, to the point where Kakashi decides he's not going to be like this anymore, or maybe he's going to have another encounter with Yamato. I expect that to happen, and of course, everybody is expecting Itachi to show up because he was with the Anbu squad as well, and apparently him and Kakashi have some sort of history that they don't want to tell us about, so maybe they'll get to that in the next episode. But otherwise, this was a pretty entertaining one, a little slow, kind of a retread of last week, so I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10, but if you want a little bit of Naruto entertainment and you want to learn a little bit more about some of the crazy shit that went on in Konoha back in the day, check out this episode. It's at least pretty entertaining. Had some pretty decent artwork, music, and some of the action scenes were kind of cool. So check it out, guys. It was decent. If you guys had a chance to check out this week's episode of Naruto Shippuden, it's time to let me know what you thought about with your comments below. You can tell me about your favorite moments, maybe some stuff you didn't care for, what you want to see from the future of the Kakashi Anbu arc, and from the future of the entire series in general. Remember, guys, before you leave, hit that like button, give this video a thumbs up. It's really easy to do, and it helps our videos out so much, it's ridiculous. And you could subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. So, I'll see you next time, guys. Super Kami Guru 9000, out.